Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you know, I play an astronomically large amount of Tarkov on my channel, mostly because I have a thing that I call the point of impact that I enjoy in PvP quite often. I get a lot of that from Tarkov. But as many of you also know, Tarkov had a complete meltdown over the weekend, and I still can't make sense of it. But I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions on it. And what we're going to do here today is we're actually going to talk about those thoughts and opinions and where my position is with it, as opposed to what actually happened. I'll give you guys a small little update on what's happening, but there's too many people that's already covering the exact details and the patch notes and everything. But instead, I would rather address how I feel about the situation. My name is Gummerak, and I am a variety streamer over on Twitch. And let's talk about BSG's complete and utter meltdown over the weekend. But before we do that, if you like the content that you hear today or you like my opinions, hit that subscription button, hit the bell notification to know when I put up a new video. In our last video, I let you guys know that we hit 1,018 subscribers on the channel. And this week, you guys went absolutely crazy. And we are now at 1,040. Thank you guys very much for all your support, and I greatly appreciate it. Tarkov is a game that I've had a love and hate relationship with, not because of the way the game is developed, but because how it's managed and the people that do things over at BSG. For the longest time, I didn't want anything to do with the game because of the way that BSG handled things. There were copyright strikes on YouTube content creators' websites and a whole mess of drama that just wasn't necessary. However, at the time, I was actually moderating for Veritas when he was just starting his career over on YouTube and Twitch, and he convinced me to give it a shot. And one of my viewers was nice enough to gift me the game. So I played the game, and after about a month, I was immediately hooked, and I wanted to buy the EOD version. Now, I wanted to buy the EOD version for a lot of reasons. And there's a lot of content creators that say if you bought it just for the DLC, the future DLC releases, you're lying. Well, I don't think that's the case because it's more complex than that. A great many of us who are going to be spending $150 on a game are going to be buying it under the condition of understanding everything that we're going to get with it. A good portion of us don't have $150 to spend, or if we do save up, we're buying it specifically because we understand what we're getting into. So the reasons that somebody buys EOD is way more complicated than having the simple answer of, well, I just wanted the DLC. It goes much more than that when it comes to being able to evaluate what you're buying for your money. It's such a steep price point. So money's not really the issue when it comes to this expansion that they have. If you need any further proof than that, you just look at the game Star Citizen, which has people spending thousands of dollars just to be able to buy ships inside of it. So money's not really the issue, and the number of people running around calling each other brokies, it just comes off as astronomically fucking stupid and childish. For those of you who are looking to catch up to speed and don't want to go see another video, the reality is that Tarkov put out a brand new DLC pack that costs $250 for the brand new pack if you buy it from the very beginning, or if you're an EOD and Edge of Darkness holder, it was only going to cost you an extra $100. The Tarkov community then imploded because of the things that were inside of that DLC expansion that was not going to be available to the people who bought the Edge of Darkness version, which was simply supposed to be sold as the highest version in the game. So the reality is that people are upset for having to spend more money. People are upset because they bought the Edge of Darkness version with the understanding that it was going to be the final version, and everything that went on through the game from there was all going to compile into the Edge of Darkness version or let shit roll downhill. So when people saw that the new DLC that was being added had certain things in it that were not going to be available to EOD owners, people naturally got upset. And then Nikita went ahead and used doublespeak and either to get around the Edge of Darkness people being upset because technically the items being added were not DLC, or so he thinks. His exact statement was, first of all, PvE game mode, this is not DLC. DLC, in our understanding, is the major additions to the game, including various functionality and content that are released after the official release of the game as a themed DLC pack. In short, he thinks anything he adds to the game is not considered DLC until they hit 1.0 launch, which has been 8 fucking years. The reality is that he's confusing the word expansions with DLC. When you look at World of Warcraft, EverQuest, and any other number of games that have come out with stuff after they've been released, they typically call it an expansion or they call it a DLC. And what this really boils down to is what people consider to be a DLC or an expansion, because the definition for both tend to change wildly among people and their experiences throughout the world. Expansions, for the most part, greatly expand the game and were specifically designed to do so, like a full-on game design with a very large amount of content. And DLCs are typically something that is added that either improves the game or adds to the storyline, but isn't as quite substantial. Or at least that's what it used to be defined as, but the lines are kind of blurry on it, and that's probably causing some confusion as well. And this is where you start to get into the territory of what I have a problem with when it comes to BSG and Tarkov. I really could care less about the changes, and I'm certainly not about to give them any money. My problem with Tarkov is currently how they treat their player base and how Nikita thinks he can just talk to whoever he wants, however he wants. Putting out a half-baked apology that just makes it sound like, I'm sorry you feel that way, without actually apologizing to his community, just comes off as snippy and snarky and not really giving a shit about what any of us have to say and only caving because he feels like he fucking has to. People like Sigma, who have been removed from the creator space inside of BSG and either to make all of the tournaments that you guys see when it comes to Tarkov, her company does a great many of those, and now she's been ostracized for simply filing an HR complaint, essentially proving that you can say whatever you want to them in an open space, but there will be obvious repercussions if you do so. And this has been a trend throughout BSG's history, and it's not a good one at that. Silencing your creators or getting rid of them simply because you don't like what they have to say, or because they want to improve relations so they give you some feedback, results in BSG lashing out like some kind of frustrated child. So as a content creator, it makes it very difficult to want to support the company that is developing a game that I love when they treat a good number of people like utter shit. Now, that really shouldn't have any bearing on how you feel about a game when you play it and you enjoy it, but it affects your quality of life when it comes to that game when you're constantly surrounded by it in a huge dumpster fire like this entire fucking incident. So where do I stand at the end of the day for all of this? Well, no matter what kind of changes that they make to the EOD and this new unheard of package, I'm not going to give them any more money. Now, that certainly doesn't mean that I'm going to stop playing Tarkov, because I do enjoy the game, and until something gives me that point of impact rush that I am constantly searching for in these games, then there's no reason for me to stop playing it. I also find calling for boycotts and doing refunds after you've had EOD for 7 of those 8 years and gotten 3,000 or 4,000 hours worth of playtime out of the game to be utterly ridiculous, because all of this can be solved with communication and transparency. We don't have to like each other to get the same goal done when it comes to a relationship between us and the developers. We don't have to like Nikita. We don't have to like the developers or the publisher or any of that. We just have to like the game and want to support the game if it's truly something that we want when it comes to early access or beta games. At the end of the day, no one should be telling you what to do with your money. It is, after all, your money. You worked for it, you earned it, and you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. But I will no longer be giving them any more money in support, because the original concept was to buy EOD for $150, and that was going to be enough to be able to support the game. That's the reason why you picked a finite amount of dollars in either to sell the game for instead of a monthly service point. And I can certainly understand a company needing to make more money in either to support, but that could have been all done through transparency and saying we would like to give you the PvE mode that you want, but server space is expensive and we can't cover the cost for it. So we would like to put out a package and then get people's feedback and then adjusted the price of the package at that point. Instead, they just went straight for the throat and as high of the dollar mark as they can get, probably by taking their costs and dividing it by their number of players. Either way, the decision that I made a long time ago to buy EOD was under the impression that that was the price point for support for the game and that no other transactions were going to be added or microtransactions. And this has proved to be a long-standing case of lying from BSG. So for now, I'm taking a break from the game, but I'm not going to stop playing it. A break just simply because of the number of people that are going crazy inside of the game and doing stupid things like specifically cheating and hunting people down for the specific editions and ruining everybody's experience. So I'm going to wait for the fires to die down before I go back to playing it any. We do have Gray Zone Warfare coming from developers that do give a shit about their community. It released on the 30th. So we at least got something to play while we try to figure out what we're going to do and where we're going to shift. If Gray Zone Warfare is as good as it looks and doesn't have the performance issues that I'm concerned about, then it will be a great title to fill the hole and need that I need to replace Tarkov for the meantime. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say and whether you picked up the package or not, down in the comment section down below. If you guys liked what you heard here today, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification to know when I put up another video. My videos are pretty sporadic because I'm working overtime and need to pay bills, and I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your week. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.